conquering the spirit, I'm busting through the ceiling. I'm following your lead, I'm following the spirit.
King Lear. After Bladud's flying incident, the first ever unless one accounts for Icarus, the throne transferred prematurely to his son Lear. King Lear, owing to his early ascension, he reigned 60 years, a record for the old British monarchy. Throughout most of his time, his rule was admirable. Like several of his predecessors, he founded a city. It was on the river Soar and was given his own name, Seer Lear. In English it became Leicester. Lear had no sons, but he had 3 daughters, Gonerilla, Regan and Cordelia. While all 3 were dear to him, the youngest Cordelia was his favourite. At an advanced age, he resolved to divide the kingdom amongst them, and marry them to husbands who could take suitable share in government. Since an equal triple division was impractical, he formed the notion of giving the largest portion to the daughter who loved him the most. When questioned at that point, Gonerilla called the gods to witness that her father was more dearer to her than her very soul, whilst Regan swore she loved him more than she loved anyone else on earth. Lear was taken in by their flattery, but hoped Cordelia would somehow outbid them, so that he could award her the best share. However, she chose to test him, just as he was testing her. She loved him, she said, with all the love due from a daughter to her father, but no more. Worse, she told him that his values in other people's eyes depended, in practice, on his possessions alone. Lear was furious and revised his plans. He married Gonerilla to Malgrus, the Duke of Albany, and Regan to Henrinus, the Duke of Cornwall. Between them they were to have half of the island, whilst he kept the remainder for himself. Cordelia was cast off. Agenippus, however, the Frankish king, was willing to take her with neither land or title, and she went there to become his wife, a wife in Gaul. Though Lear was growing older and feebler, he went on living. At length, his impatient sons-in-law seized the territory he still held. He could do nothing to stop them and was virtually deposed. Malgrus and Gonerilla undertook to give him a home in their own large residence, with an entourage of 140 knights. The arrangement lasted for 2 years. Finally, Gonerilla complained that it had become unworkable, with the 140 knights making excessive demands and claims while quarrelling amongst their own servants. Despite her past protestations of boundless love, she told Lear that she would not put up with it, and he could only remain with 30 men henceforth, dismissed the rest of his knights. He walked out in a rage and went to Henrinus and Regan. After a few months, Regan likewise insisted that most of his retinue must go. She would allow him only 5 knights to remain. He returned to Gonerilla, but now she refused to accommodate more than just the one. After all, he had no possessions, no state to keep, so why did he need so many attendants? With 139 of his knights gone, Lear tried to endure what he called poverty, but found it unbearable. He swallowed his pride and set off with the one lone survivor for Gaul. Aboard the ship, he noticed that he was accorded no royal treatment, and that Cordelia had spoken the truth. Without his possessions, he was not particularly valued. He feared that she would also reject him in view of the conduct towards her. But she received him with compassion and generosity, and supplied him with money, new clothes, and a fresh retinue of 40 knights. They returned together to Britain with an army recruited by Agenippus in Gaul. Her husband had routed the 2 sons-in-law. Lear was king again. He reigned for 3 years more and died full of days and with honour. Cordelia became queen. She buried her father in a vault under the riverbed of the Soar, downstream from the city of Leicester. After 5 years of peace, her sister's sons, Morganus and Cornadagius, began to stir up trouble against her. Their fathers were dead and they had now inherited the dukedoms. Resenting female rule, they rose in revolt and took Cordelia prisoner. and kept her locked in a cell, which in the end, due to deep despair, drove the poor girl to suicide. So there we go guys, that was the next video in Ancient British Dynasties, King Lear and his daughters. So yeah, give a like and subscribe, stay tuned, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.